just a heads up, I may die of heat stroke in the middle of this video because it's 80 degrees outside, I'm in Texas, and my fan's broken. But I had to wear the sweatshirt. I really had to. Look, it says Wolfpack. Ignore the part that says softball. And it's red. Come on now, all of the reasons to wear the sweatshirt in this video. So today I'm going to be reviewing Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. I literally just filmed my review for Cinder 30 seconds ago. I have all of my thoughts ready right here. I'm prepared. I was not prepared at all to read this book. I thought I was, but I'm not. I wasn't. And I'm like 50 pages into Crest right now, and I'm even less prepared for that. Anyways, let's get started. So if you saw my last review for Cinder, I said that I wear sweaters with books that I really, really enjoy because they mix well together. And so that's another reason why I'm wearing a sweater, is because I really enjoyed this book and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. And now we're moving on to the spoilery section. So if you haven't read the book, scurry away, go read the book, come back, watch the video, and then read Cress. And then watch that video because I'm 99% sure that there's gonna be one. So the non-spoilery section of this book review is not going to last very long because I have a whole lot of things to say about this, and the sun's going down, which means I have to film fast. So this book caught off right where Cinder had ended, but with a different character, and so I'm pretty sure it was like the same time frame, just in a different part of the world and a different character. I believe, in my opinion, that this book wrapped you up in the story so fast, like there wasn't any awkward, like, second book starting points. You just automatically got hooked in, even though they were characters that you hadn't even been introduced to in the first book. So the first character that we meet is Scarlet, and basically her sass is my goal in life. She's just the sassiest person around, and she knows it, and she lives for it, and as do I. So she goes into this bar and she's selling tomatoes because her and her granny own a farm, and her granny's been vanished for 2 weeks and we have no idea where she is. And I thought that was interesting that it didn't follow the direct storyline of Little Red Riding Hood. Like, the grandma disappeared before she had met the wolf. And so she goes into this bar because she was delivering their tomatoes, and then there's like this guy named Wolf, and they get in a little like roundup with Scarlet and these other guys because she's defending Cinder, who is up on the TV for being this runaway cyborg. And she's like, I don't think we should judge him yet. And then everybody's like, what the heck? Yeah, we should. And she's like, no, you're all wrong. We really should not judge someone we don't know. And then Wolf comes in and is like super calm about choking a guy. And I don't know what to think of him at this point. What? Who is he? What's he doing? We've met Scarlet and we've met Wolf, and even though his name is Wolf, I'm still like, yeah, good guy, woo! And then we skip ahead to Thorn, and he's just sitting in a cell, and his name is Carswell Thorn, and he calls himself Captain, even though he's a cadet, because he thinks the girls like the title better. Which they may, honestly. And I literally read less than a paragraph of his internal monologue, and he was already like one of my favorite characters ever. I know he's super cocky, but it's just really entertaining for me to read. I was already like super into it. And then he mentioned like metal limbs coming out of his little tiled roof, and I was like, oh my god, it's Cinder. But they don't actually say it's Cinder until another couple pages, and I'm like, come on now, mention that it's Cinder already. We already know it's Cinder. I'm super pumped just to read the name Cinder, because she's only 16 and she's a freaking boss. And it should have been pretty obvious to me that Thorn was going to go with her, but at the time I was reading and I was like, is Thorn going to go with her on this adventure to Africa? I don't know why I doubted that he would. It was very obvious that he would. I just wasn't sure. And then he did. Thorn went with her, and they're just the greatest cute little bro TP pair. Oh, I love their friendship. And then Wolf was like a fighter or something, and then he like almost killed a guy, and then it turns out that he was wrapped up, and then her dad comes and he like has tattoos, and her dad's like all drunk and whatnot. He's like, oh man, yeah, no, tattoos. And she's like, oh man, the same tattoo I saw on Wolf. And I was like, I knew I shouldn't have trusted Wolf. I jumped onto his character too soon, and I shouldn't have trusted him. And then he was like, oh no, it's not me. And I was like, okay, maybe I can trust Wolf. Yay! I was right! We're gonna get more into that later. And honestly, when we jumped back to Kai, I was just super excited because I love Kai, and he is the sassiest emperor, and I'm sure that him and Scarlet are going to meet at some point. I would like them to, because that sass together, man, that dialogue would just be like A+ to read. I'm sorry it's getting darker. I'm really trying to film, but the sun's going down. Anytime that something happens in Kai's political life, and obviously Queen Lavanna is going to be involved in all of it, I really want to know Torin's opinion, because he's just like the quiet, composed mentioner of things. I'm sure he has a more formal title. I just can't think of it at the moment. And I just really want to know his opinions, because inside he's just sassing Queen Lavanna to the next century. And man, I want to know what he's thinking. And then Eco was back. Oh, I was so happy. I was so happy that Eco came back, because I missed her so much, and even she's an android, and she got destroyed in the first book, and I missed her, and I'm so happy that she came back to us. So Wolf comes back and so now we're back to Scarlet, and Wolf comes to her farmhouse, and she has a gun, and she's like, hey, step any closer and I'll shoot. And he's like, I don't doubt that you'll shoot. And he's just standing there all calm and composed, even though there's a gun pointed at him. And Scarlet comes over and doesn't shoot him, and then talks to him, and he's like, you can trust me. I'll help you find your grandma. And then her dad is upstairs, and he's like finding things, and he's like, if she has proof, and if I don't find it, they're all gonna kill me. And she's like, who's gonna kill you? And Wolf's like, I was not part of it, but I can help you. And that also should have thrown me off from the beginning. But it didn't, because I was so wrapped up in how much I loved Wolf and his character. Man, I'm letting myself down. So Wolf and Scarlet jump on a train to go to France, because they got a clue that she could be in France. And then they meet this guy named Rand, and it was so obvious not to trust Rand from the beginning. Honestly. And then, like, the train goes on lockdown, and they're quarantining people because there may be the plague on the train, and they're like, Beast, gotta get out of here. And so Wolf and Scarlet jump off the train, and then Rand follows them, and then a fight ensues. But I'm pretty sure there's some parts in between this, so I'm going to try to get to the parts in between it. So then Wolf kind of admits some things to Scarlet, and we find out that her grandma was on the flight that shipped Princess Celine back to Earth. And while she went to Lunar, she met a guy, and then Scarlet's father was born 9 months later. And so if Scarlet's grandfather is Lunar, does that make Scarlet like 1/4 Lunar? I don't know. It was never answered. Please answer me if Scarlet is Lunar. And then as I'm reading, I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Michelle Benoit. Is this the same doctor that Cinder and Thorn are currently looking for on their stolen ship? Who knows, man? I sure didn't at the time. And then Scarlet and Wolf are, like, jumping onto a train, back onto a train, after fighting Rand. And she's, like, not trusting him as much anymore, but she still kind of trusts him. And then she's like, yeah, I can jump. And he's like, you sure? And she's like, no. LOL, I'm not sure. And so she gets onto Wolf's back, and they jump onto the train, and then she, like, almost falls off the train, and he's, like, flipping out, and, like, he pulls her back on the train, and he's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, are you good, you're safe? He's, like, rubbing hair from her face and whatnot, and I was like, that's when I knew that they were forever going to be an OTP. That's when I knew that they were going to be a character matchup that I wanted to make work so bad. I knew they were meant to be together in that moment, and I was like reading it, and then I go, crap, there's 2.5 more books. What's gonna happen in that time period that's gonna screw up my love for them? And then they're on the train, and they do like a little kissy-kissy makeout session, and I'm like, whatever, yeah, cutie pies, you go ahead and you do that. And then Scarlet's like, I can go, but you can't go. And he's like, LOL, whatever, I'm gonna go ahead and go. And Scarlet's like, no, don't. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go anyways. And then he goes, she's like, it's a chance I have to take. And he goes, I know you do. You'll do what you have to do. And so will I. That's when I knew that crap was about to go down. What the heck? So will I? No, I didn't trust him anymore. I still really loved him, and I still was kind of wrapped up in his whole personality. But I didn't trust him anymore. He got some crap going on. And then Wolf completely betrayed her? He's just like, yes, loyal to my pack. Here's Scarlet, the girl we've been looking for. And they're all lunar, and there's like a I don't even care at the moment. Why did he have to go and betray her like that? I trusted him kind of, sort of. It was a really emotional moment for me. I was very upset. Also, I really love the cover of this book. Just minor side note, you can see her hair, but also the red of the cape. Anyways, so Wolf had to go off and just betray Scarlet and her grandma, and Scarlet's gotten all wrapped up in his life, and he's kind of gotten all wrapped up in hers, and it didn't even matter at all, because he's a freaking betrayer. And he betrayed people, because that's what betrayers do. And I'm really still emotional about it. So when they were talking about the main pack leader coming into the sanctuary of this opera house where Wolf had turned in Scarlet and like other lunar wolf guys came out and they were all like, grr, we got wolf teeth and whatnot. And then the main pack leader smiled and she said that it was a happy smile. I was like, oh crap, this is a real villain right here, because it's not an evil smile, it's just a happy smile. That's terrifying. The fact that he's like completely happy about what he's doing. You know, like evil people, they have like evil laughs and evil smiles, and it's because they know they're evil and he enjoys it. But like when they do a happy smile, that's just like a whole other side of evil. I bet Queen Lavanna has a creepy smile. A creepy, evil, happy smile. You know what I mean? And then in the middle of reading this scene with Scarlet and her grandma, I realized that Kai and Cinder hadn't talked in nearly a full entire book. And I was like, oh my god. They had like the entire last book to themselves, but they still need to talk in this book. And then they never do. We go an entire book without Kai and Cinder talking, and it just, man, it hurt my heart. Hurt my poor little shipper heart. So anyways, back to the scene where I realized this. Scarlet was told that she was allowed to meet her grandma, and then she found out that it was really just Ran, like, metamorphosizing lunar crapping himself to look like her grandma, and it was just so sad, but also the coolest fairy tale incorporation into this book. Like the fact that the wolf pretends to be the grandma, but then it was really him lunarizing himself to be the grandma. It was just really cool to me. It was fascinating, honestly. And then she fell back and she was like crap, and then she was crying a lot. And it was really sad that she was crying, but man, I was still really fascinated by the fact that that's how Marissa Meyer decided to brilliantly incorporate the fairy tale. And then we go back to Cinder and Thorn, and they have previously gotten a battery for their ship that he has stolen so they can continue orbiting Earth. And I really, really wanted Cinder to tell Thorn that she was the princess just to see his reaction, because he would either A, flip out, B, be like, you're not as pretty as I thought you would be for a princess, or C, have some sarcastic remark, because that's just kind of who Thorn is, and I love him for it. And it was so really, really obvious that Wolf still cared about Scarlet, just in little bits of pieces that were in the writing. Like, it showed and it proved that he still cared for her. And it's going to take a while for me to forgive him for all the crap that he did, but, I mean, he still loves her, and that's not an excuse for everything, but, you know, Wolf loved her. And then he decided to sexually assault her. What was that? He, like, shoved her up against a wall and was like, hey, I'm going to kiss you now, and she was like, what the heck? Get off of me. And then he was like, no, I'm going to go ahead and kiss you. And then he put an ID chip in her mouth? Why? Why did he put an ID chip in her mouth? And he was like, it's not going to be safe tonight. And he goes off, and then the main pack leader's like, hey, we're going to, like, attack people tonight. And he's like, all right, man. Cool, let her go. And then the pack's like, no, we can't let her go. And Wolf's like, okay, well, I tried. And so then they go, and they are in the middle of a town, Roux, France. I'm pretty sure that I'm pronouncing that wrong. But they are in the middle of the town where Scarlet lives, and they go to the farmhouse, and then they find out that they can't find anything there because all of the ID chips have been taken out, and so that's kind of a dead end. And then they go back to the ship, and the ship is being circled by policemen, and then they go into the same tavern that Scarlet had delivered tomatoes to at the beginning of the book, which just was a beautiful circle. And then there's a wolf guy in there, and he starts attacking them, and then they're also getting arrested at the same time because she was identified as Cinder and she couldn't control her lunar power enough. And then Thorn gets locked up, or like tied up. He gets handcuffed, that's the word. And then Thorn gets handcuffed, and then instead of just like telling Cinder to snap out of it, even though she kind of just had someone killed and she feels really, really bad about it, he just slams his head into her head. I love that that's his response. He's not like, hey, Cinder, snap out of it. He's just like, boom, head noggin knockout. There's a word for that. But I'm too emotional over this book right now to think of it, and I'm really sorry. And I really liked that Thorn had a reasonable side to him. Like, he had a more peaceful, relaxing, comforting side. He wasn't just completely sarcastic remarks even in serious situations. Like, he was trying to convince Cinder that it wasn't her fault that the cop died, and that she didn't, like, purposely kill him, and so she wasn't an awful person even though she accidentally used her lunar powers, because she really didn't mean to. Like, it wasn't her goal to have that cop step in front of her to save her life. It just kind of happened. And Thorn is like sitting there trying to convince her that it wasn't her fault. And that just made me love Thorn even more. And then Scarlet gets out of her prison and she finds her grandma, and the grandma's like, Scarlet, you gotta get out of here. And Scarlet's like, LOL, nope. And then the grandma dies, and then Rand bites her neck afterwards. Like, honestly, how necessary was that? It was completely unnecessary. You did not need to bite the grandma's neck after she was already dead. Man, it was really, really sad. Scarlet was like dying inside, and it made me die inside, and it was... I'm really sad we didn't get to see more of the grandmother, because she seemed like such a cool person, and I really wanted to meet more of her. And then she's running away from Rand because her grandma's already dead, and Scarlet realizes that, like, that is why she was here, and there's no point in being here anymore. And so she just gets a rush of adrenaline and, like, rushes off throughout the opera house, and then Wolf comes back, and she's trying to live because she just got slammed into the wall and she's like dying from her back or something. And Wolf is fighting Rand, and then Rand says like he would take advantage of Scarlet if there wasn't more important things going on, and that was just absolutely disgusting. Oh my god, I hate Rand so much. And Wolf and Rand are brothers, and I didn't mention this earlier in the book because, Then as Wolf is beating Rand, Scarlet finally gets up and she just kind of sprints out of there. She's like, peace out, dudes and dudettes. I gotta go. This is freaky. And then Wolf finally catches her, and he's like not sure whether or not he's going to bite her, and we all kind of know that he's not, because... actually don't know why. We all just know that he's not going to. And then obviously Cinder to the rescue, and she comes up and shoots him with the bullet thing. A tranquilizer. She shoots him with the tranquilizer, and he just knocks dead. Dead? Not dead. Down. Knocks down. Not dead. Knocks dead, not down. Cinder's like, we're here to help you, and Scarlet's like, oh my god, you shot him, and I'm like, Scarlet, get your head together. Get out of there. Like, this is a weird place to be right now. It is bad. You saw someone, and you were like, asking for help, and then they died. Like, this is just not a good place for you to be right now. You gotta go. And Cinder is here to help you. And so then they try to go back to Eco, who is trying to get the ramp down so they can all get on the ship, because then Thorn and Cinder both pick up Wolf, even though I'm pretty sure he's like 300 pounds of pure muscle and like 6'4". I don't know. That's just how I picture him. That's what he is in my mind. And they just pick him up, and they're like heaving their way to the ship, just, you know, casually carrying a football player. And then they fall, and then all of the weird wolf pack people are surrounding their ship, and then Eco like lifts up and like knocks them all over with the ramp. Shout out to Eco. And then Cinder uses some of her lunar ability to control one of the guys to pick up Thorn, who has been shot by a tranquilizer, and Wolf, and he like drags him on, and then she loses her control of him, and then Scarlet comes out and shoots the main pack leader with the shotgun, and then it's just... I know she didn't know, but it was a really bad idea, because then the main pack leader tries to turn the shotgun on Scarlet, and Cinder knows this, but Cinder also can't be controlled by them, and so she just kind of like shoots off and like knocks the shotgun, and then like was like, run, Scarlet. And so Scarlet ran, and it's just, it was a really intense moment, and then they shot and they died and people got knocked over, and it just, they all finally got on the ship. That's the main point of this story. They all got safe on the ship, even though they were all kind of really, really injured. And then Wolf and Thorn are starting to wake up from the tranquilizer bullets, and I was actually kind of weirded out, not weirded out, but I was shocked that Thorn woke up before Wolf, because Wolf had been shot first, and he's also like a much like larger man, and so I just pictured it like drugs and alcohol. Like I pictured it, Wolf can handle more drinks than Thorn. Except, honestly, knowing Thorn, I'm not sure about that part, if I'm being honest. But, like, size-wise, Wolf would be able to handle more than Thorn, and so it kind of shocked me that Thorn woke up first. But that's not important. And so then Thorn gets the shotgun and is just, like, holding it on Wolf's head. Not, like, on him, but he's holding it directed towards Wolf's head. And then there's a part where Wolf goes, I would have killed me, and it just goes, Thorn released his finger on the safety. That was so great to me. Thorn's like casual about it. He's like, you should have killed me. And he's like, all right, man, like I got you. If that's how you want to go. And so Kai comes on the screen and announces that he's going to be marrying Queen Lavanna because of the whole wolf attacking the world and killing 16,000 people in a couple of hours deal. And so Cinder is flipping out and like throws her shoe foot thing at the screen and is like, everyone's going to die and it's all Kai's fault. And then Scarlet just goes, it sounds to me that it will be all your fault. Mic drop. And so, although Cinder is dealing with way too much and she needs a break, Scarlet has no trouble telling her that she doesn't have time for a break and she gotta get some things done. Wolf volunteers and he's like, hey, like, Cinder, you should not have been able to control one of those guys while the Thaumaturge, why am I pronouncing that? I forgot the word. While one of those guys is controlling that wolf pack, you should not have been able to overtake control of them. And Cinder's like, well, I did. And Wolf's like, you know what? I'm going to help you train. And Cinder's like, I'm going to take you up on that offer. And so then they're going to start train, and Cinder is ready to kick some butt and take some names, and I'm here for it. And that's where we ended this book. So I'm currently about 50 pages into Cress, so I really have no idea where the storyline is going at this point, but I'm super excited to see how the story follows along and read some of the other novellas, because I've heard that even those are absolutely incredible, and I'm very excited for it. So, Scarlet! I really hope you all enjoyed today's video. I thankfully did not die of heat stroke, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching.